All right, season 4, episode 5 of the Harold Katz podcast. Glad you could join us over in Glickman and Kiva Poppers, and of course, Coach Katz. A lot to dissect. The last time we were on this show, the Macs were dancing in the Sweet 16. The season has now come to a close. Time to wrap things up. Coach, a lot to be proud of when it comes to this team, what they've accomplished. What are your overall takeaways on the season, and where does the program go from here?
Well, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot to be proud of. But I want to go back to when this group was freshmen and everybody had these expectations on them because they followed the other group. And I think our fan base, the YU fan base, gets a little, I don't even know what the word is, carried away.
No, really?
Nah, seriously. They get a little carried away and here, I the whole time I was preaching patience, if you remember, when they were freshmen and then they got into their sophomore year. I don't necessarily think they were getting any better as a group. Um, but then I kept saying we have to be a little more patient. And the crazy thing is that they're not like that other team that went to the Sweet 16. They're not. That other team was much more complete. They were just a better basketball team. But what these guys did was really great. And by by just preaching patience, freshman, sophomore, I told you there's a long, hard learning curve. They did get to it, and at points they ran our stuff offensively as good as it's been run. And the problem with them was always, even to the last day, consistency. Know what you want to do, how you want to do it, working hard enough to do it, being smart enough to do it, that whole thing. And I think we lacked, if there was something this group lacked, was consistency. And so, um, but that being said, what a great job to go back to back. Um, I'm not sure we were the best team in this league 2 years ago. I think we were the best team in this league this year. But 2 years ago, we just kind of, they blew a lead and we kind of did something with them that I don't think they expected us to do. And I don't think they responded to it very well in the second half. And we ended up getting a ridiculous shot from Zavi to win. So, but I think we got to the NCAA tournament happy to be there and we played like that. So we got our doors blown off against a team that we'd already seen before, which was a little more, that was a little, you got to be better when you play a team you've seen before. But then this year, I thought it wasn't just happy to be there, it was we could do stuff. And I think it's an advantage to have seniors on your team, regardless of, what they've done the first 3 years, to have older group that's probably learned from that experience and has played together for as long as they did. So from that standpoint, that was exceptional to watch. I don't think I don't think we played our best basketball. If there's a distinction, I think the distinction between the two teams is just that when they got to the NCAA tournament, the team in 2019 played their best basketball, probably of their careers. And this team was good enough to win day one, played a lot better day two, but you know, I mean, we were good. We just, it's survive in advance, so it doesn't matter. There's no style points. We won, but we weren't playing our best basketball in the NCAA tournament, and that's the difference between both teams that went to the Sweet 16. One scoring 100 points a night, and the other one surviving on 60. So was it 60 that first night, something like that? So
69. Yeah.
69. Yeah. So you should be playing your best basketball in March. You know, maybe we played it in the conference tournament, first half Farmingdale notwithstanding. Maybe we played our best basketball. Then I'm not I'm not sure. I can't be sure. I'm too old now.
I think Coach would more so say that there were more moments of good basketball down the stretch of the season, but still
No
not the
doubt.
consistency.
No, but what?
But still not good basketball consistently enough.
Right. I think consistency was a problem for this group. Whether it was a depth problem, sorry, whether it was a depth problem or uh, execution problem, or there was something there. We just didn't, we just couldn't stay consistent. I mean, it's amazing. We go to playoffs. I think we had 21 points at halftime with Farmingdale. Good news was we'd only given up, I don't know, 23, something like that. And then drop a 50 point something in the second half. So it's whereas that other team, comparing the two of them was madly consistent. There were a couple nights because everybody has a couple nights, but once they got rolling, they were tough out. And I'm convinced they'd have been the national champs. I'm sure 15 other teams are saying that. Um, I'm sure my perspective is different. So, but these guys should be very proud of themselves. They did a lot. They accomplished a lot. They did what I don't think people thought they would do. Um, and last one standing. And the truth is, look, I think when you go to the Emory game, I thought the game was over. I'm not sure the exact score. Maybe it's 43-40, 42-39. And we have a thing that we have in the scout report where we're going to send number 10 where we want him to go. And I think it was Nate who gives that dude 5 feet. The idea would be get up in him and send him that way. Instead, you give him 5 feet, he pulls a three and drains it. And you just got to say, what are you thinking? Did you not have enough time on the bench to read the scouting report? And then the very next play, and I think this is the microcosm of the inconsistency I'm talking about. I think Zebby or somebody came down, hit a three, and cut it back down to three, and okay, now we've overcome that terrible start. We're right here. We just have to play well here in the second half. And they get a ball screen on this kid, 10, and both Roy and Dotan go with the screener and leave the best player on the floor wide open. At that point, to me, the game was over. We just, I kind of knew it. We just didn't know it yet. Because at that point, it's a 3 point game. Maybe it's six, whatever, after that shot. Game's over. You're not going to survive. What we were doing on the offensive end and the way we were not following what we were supposed to do on the defensive end, that was over. Look, they were good, obviously good enough to get to the national championship. And I think it's interesting. And I think it tells a lot about us and what we could have done that night, that we went to overtime after pissing away two big leads with Mayor Washington. We went to double overtime, right? Like we go to double overtime with Mayor Washington, the team that eventually wins the national championship by beating Emory. So it's not like we couldn't have done it because we were down, we were in Mayor Washington. We were at their joint and spanking them. If I remember, we got great stuff from our freshmen. Alex and
Nate,
yeah,
I agree.
who did?
Nate.
Yeah, Nate, Yair, Alex. And I think at the end of I want to say at the end of regulation or the first overtime, we're playing that overtime with three freshmen on the floor until one of them fell. I think Alex fell out. So but not like we couldn't play at that level, even regardless of what all the know-it-alls thought.
Right.
You know, we were in the ball game. We pissed that away. I think it was +6 with what, 30 seconds ago? Like
Yeah.
and our seniors are turning over. You can't do that. You gotta win the game. Like it's you know. So, but all in all, it was actually. uh It's a great run because we got there. It's a frustrating one because of what we could have been. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's kind of like a big screw you to everybody who tells us, you know, what we got to do offensively and all that. Just shut up. Well, I think we own enough of them that we know what we're doing. You know what I mean? Just because you played basketball on JV in the Yeshiva League doesn't mean you know what the hell you're talking about. With all due respect.
Anyone specific there that you're calling out?
No, no. Although there were some coaches in there. No. No, I just everybody's a expert. And then they tell you like, I played the game. I've been a dentist. You want me drilling your teeth? I've had a broken arm. You want me setting yours? Like, well, it's not as simple as, you know, go sit back in zone and, rebound missed shots from 30% shooters, and you think you understand how to compete on college basketball. College basketball is very difficult. And the fact that these guys went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments is standing ovation time. And I think a lot of the credit, as I told them, goes to Zevi and Max because when they bought in, everybody else bought in. And the guys who didn't buy in didn't end up making a difference. Um, and the story of teams in between those two teams was buy-in. Like that team that lost at Manhattanville, like they no, if your leaders don't buy in, you don't have any leaders. I mean, you can call yourself a captain or whatever, but if you act like a punk, you're not a captain. So there was no buy-in on those teams, and that's why those teams got beat. This team had a buy-in, and I think it was when Max came around. Not that he wasn't all in, don't get me wrong, but when his game adapted to the buy-in, Max was just awesome, and I felt bad that he had to play hurt, but nevertheless, he got to still play in the NCAA tournament, which was great. So, if I'm not mistaken, because he redshirted at that other joint, where was that?
At Bryant?
He redshirted
Yeah,
Bryant. That's right.
didn't they go to the NCAA tournament his freshman year?
They
They
did.
did.
They were in the first four.
He made the
So
tournament three out of five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he went to 3 out of 5 years, pretty good run right there. So good for him, and he did it with two totally different systems. And granted, he didn't play a lot, and he redshirted. So, but on the team that he did play, he was pretty good. And um, it's easy to say, including Zevi could have been there, we still wouldn't have won without Max. As much as for years, I was frustrated. But him and I spoke all about it. And I love him to death. And he's probably the biggest reason why we ended up advancing and having a great year.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of people after an era ends, we had it with Ryan, Gabe, Donnie,
Right.
Simcha, and people were like, oh, pulling the fire alarm. Oh no, what's
I
happening
don't know.
next? And then we
Yes.
found out that this new era was just as effective, So what's, obviously without, showing any intel that we might have, but why do we know? Why are we guaranteed to have the same type of success as we usher in yet another new era of YU basketball?
Well, like uh it, one, this group recruits this coaching staff. They recruit. There are kids who want to come. I mean, my whole point years ago to Elliot was you can become the Duke of the Jewish community. Like kids will want to come to you. So we get the usual crap that every coach who coaches at a school like this gets from all the players whose mom think they're really good. So maybe we get, I don't know, 50, I don't know if it's that much, but probably over 100 films a week. I'm sorry, a month, probably. And a lot of them are either easy to cipher through. So kids want to come and play at Yeshiva, and there's a good group coming in. And again, patience. It's not going to be one of these things like they're going to come in and all of a sudden, guys are dropping 40, and it's just not going to be that way. The learning curve will be very steep. It's a good group. Um, it's a tall group, or it should be. Um, and very talented basketball players. But if there's no buy-in, and it's going to be my stuff against your stuff, you know, player says it's mine. This is what I want to do because this is what we do it at bum blank state. Like if there's no it's got to be buy-in, and you got to buy in right away. And I would think if I'm hanging 5 NCAA tournament flags from the rafters in whatever it is, 9, 10 years, 11 years.
Eight seasons,
Hey,
9 years.
what's up? I'm sorry.
In 8 seasons.
In 8 seasons, 9 years. Like, I'm sorry, but I think we kind of know what we're doing here. So if you don't want to buy in, that's fine. Just get to stepping. You know what I mean? Because this second class should prove to every incoming player to sit down, shut up, and pay attention. And then just do what you're told and you'll figure it out. So where we get in trouble is we bring in transfers from other schools who keep telling us how great it was, how they did this great thing at that school and that great thing at that. Dude, go back to that school. Who needs you? We know what we're doing. If our scouting reports are too complicated for you, go back to them big smart schools from them smart leagues and run what they're running. You know what I mean? Like it's look, just be patient. Whatever the class will be fine. Just be patient. They're not like stop putting them on interviews before they've even put their jock on for practice one. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to interview some freshman who doesn't know where the hell the lunchroom is, and you're going to interview him about basketball. Like, come on, man. That's that's just jock sniffing stupidity. And people don't like it. Tough crap. Like, stop being a jock sniffer and let a kid get acclimated to what's going on. And the jock sniffing thing bothers the hell out of me. I always hated it. Ooh, look, here's a new player. Let's kiss his ass. Yeah, that's a great idea. Then the kid will have 4 turnovers. They'll be like, man, this kid's not going to be any good. Dude, sit down. Shut up. You know what I mean? So I would just say this. Unlike decades ago, or a decade ago, when nobody at YU recruited anything outside the Yeshiva League, we can't get one of them bastards on the floor for us once Debbie graduates. So, I mean, I guess Max. eh, But when you consider that in the last 10 years, there has not been a great input. When the largest Jewish community gives you I don't know. I don't know. I can count them on my hands how many guys came from the Yeshiva League. And
Gabe,
it's just, huh?
Gabe,
Gabe,
uh,
Tyler,
Jordan, Justin.
Justin. Okay, now I'm not counting Sammy. I'm not counting whatever the big victory cigar dude from DRS. Anytime he came in the game, we were 6'8", 6'9". Great kid. What was his
Go
name?
with
Yeah, that was our human victory cigar. Uh,
Devi
um,
and Max were they were Yeshiva League, but it was
yeah,
during COVID. So yeah.
yep. Well, me and Max played. There's five. We're talking about, Judah Cone left. I guess Mikey Berg, but they were holdovers from the other guy.
Well, Mikey
Judah's not.
Berg also was like in three colleges before
That's
YU.
also true. Yeah. So the bottom line is, and Zakai was another one. So the bottom line is, it's not a league that's produced a lot, and that may be the reason why, for decades, you know, we just recruited the Yeshiva League, and we went nowhere. The Yeshiva League. I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm just saying, we're recruiting. We're kind of recruiting from all over the world, and um, be patient. We'll be all right. And if we don't have what we need, we'll go get it. Sort of the way to do it. But I don't know. I think when you have two classes that kind of end their career with NCAA tournaments, you did something pretty good here. Well, if you have two classes that have gone to two NCAA tournaments, you've gotten a lot out of them classes, you know? So that's my thought on that. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm actually looking forward to it, but we could use a nice long off season.
Yeah. So as we say goodbye to this recent era, what are you looking forward to the most when it comes to seeing what Max and Zevi accomplish next in life?
Um, well, look, I'm looking forward to what they all do because, I think being part of something special like this has a roll down the hill effect on you. Like, there's something about winning in college, even in high school. There's something about winning that that translates in your life. You know, um, look, I think Max going to become a really good basketball coach if he wants to do it, which he says he does. Um, and Zebi has a chance to play for a while if he wants to do it. There's some particular things he'd have to do here, but if he wants to do it, um, and then I'm confident both of them will have a major impact on A, their children, God willing, B, their communities, C, the Jewish people. I'm excited for both those guys. I think I'm excited to see what Roy and Dotan and Ari, and I know I'm missing guys, but I'm
Hello,
excited to see.
Nash.
Roy, Tom,
What's
and
that?
Hill.
Yeah, Bay Nash. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they all do, not only in the game but in their lives, because it's a group that has had to fight their way to success. It's not a group that was mad talented, although we were talented, but we didn't play like we were talented all the time. So,
But a
um,
very hardworking group.
yeah, yeah, and they got better, and because they got better, um, we ended up doing things that I'm not even sure they thought they would be able to do, especially after their freshman and sophomore year. And so to come over here now and looking back on it, and you have two NCAA tournaments, and you have you're 2-2 in the 2 year. That's pretty good effort. So and you grew from the junior year to the senior year. Like, you grew from the experience of getting going to Tufts and getting your face kicked in, and then coming back the next year and going on the road and winning twice. You know, um, you can't. It's like I always say, you can't do anything about in the NCAA tournament about the people they put in front of you. That's earned, and the fact that Johns Hopkins didn't make it a few years back is on them. The fact that Montclair State was the only, I guess, host school not to advance is on them. You can't do anything about that. Take advantage of it and enjoy yourselves. And it was great. I thought it sanctified the name of God, and the Jewish people in America and around the world needed something to celebrate, and Yeshiva gave it to them.
Coach, also
So
the team which beat Montclair State, it was noted by some various commentators that the game against YU on Saturday night would probably be something like a toss-up, given how they performed on against Montclair
yeah,
State. Any thoughts about
looks
that?
like those look like those commentators got that wrong too. Um, I mean, you know, look, it may be offensive to people, but those guys are basically fans. You know what I mean? Some of them are more educated fans. But if your jaundice is in the way of your, you know, brain function, like you can't just play idiot math. Like fans deal in idiot math. I beat you by 10, you beat them by 10, I'm gonna beat them by 20. It's idiot math. It's just idiot math. So I never I don't put a lot of stock into them dudes. I tend not to watch basketball games with commentary, except if you guys are doing it.
I know that
Simply
you love
because
your Max Live commentators.
what's that now?
I know you love your Max Live commentators.
Yeah, I tend not to listen to them just because what are they going to tell me exactly? You know, um, they'll see a good back cut and call it the great motion offense, and it was just a back cut. So I tend, I tend not to, maybe because I'm an old curmudgeon.
If you
Like,
watch, you'll learn what merchant marines do on a daily basis.
hold on, Pop. I'm trying to think how much I care. Give me a second. Yeah, that's not gonna make it. So, like, I mean, I don't mean to disparage them, but they're 22 years old. I mean, with all due respect, I have a current hangnail right here. It's bothering me like all get out.
Well,
This hangnail,
you're saying with
this
all due respect to the
hangnail
Max
forgot
Live guys,
more. What's that?
you're saying with all due respect to the Max Live guys, you're not disrespecting
Yeah.
the Marines, I assume.
No, not the Marines, the Max Live guys,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
any
yeah.
other college kid doing a game. Like this hangnail, which is really bothering me, quite honestly, I have to cut it. It forgot more basketball than the entire Max Life staff knows. You understand? So I mean, they get mad at me too. I don't care. This is the truth. I mean, I don't mean to be a prick about it, but dude, you're in college. You know nothing, So, um, that's why I tend not. I might listen for fun, just to say, "Oh my God, Pop, your guy stink," kind of thing. But or where's Oren when you need him? But no, I I like they'll say something, and I'll go like, okay, I mean, I read the scout report. That's not in there about that guy. You know what I mean? Like, where'd you pull that one out your ass? So I don't. I tend not to listen with a lot of volume. And it must be honest. Well, I actually don't watch NBA basketball. I would just tell you that. Like when Van Gundy's on TV, or does he still do games? Van Gundy, he does. I just shut it off. He's a shill. You know, he lost his nerve. I don't know if you guys remember this. Yao Ming was getting his face kicked in the playoffs. They fouled him all the time. And Van Gundy's like, I think it was after game 2. I don't care if I get fined. And so the commissioner fines him. He's like, I don't care. 2 days later, he was done talking about it. Like somebody got to him in the mafia over there and said, Jeff, we can't have you doing this anymore. It's kind of like if you ever watch the Netflix documentary on Tim Donaghy, um, the guy from the FBI who investigates Donaghy and interviews David Stern, actually says on the thing that David Stern wanted him to work for him. Well, why would he want that exactly? Maybe to snuff out the investigation. So, like the NBA sucks. I've noticed that the ratings are in the toilet.
Coach,
Non
are there any NBA commentators who you enjoy listening to? Or college, Fran Fraschilla?
college,
Iron
I
Eagle,
like.
Kevin Harlan.
Um, look at you pulling them play-by-play guys.
Yeah, don't
Uh,
talk about the play guys. Talk about the
I
Oh,
college.
like,
okay, fine.
I like, I like, I like listening to Grant Hill and Raftery.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Do you know Raftery personally or no?
we've met a couple times. I don't really know him. Was it Spinarco who used to do games on the Raycom network? There were a couple
Jim
guys.
Spanarkel used to call games with Iron Eagle for the
He
Nets.
did, right? He was really good, Spinarco, in college, doing college games. Terry, what was the guy's name? Played at NC State. Terry wasn't Holland. He was on an 83 championship team at NC State. Terry Gannon. I enjoyed listening to him. Um, Not man, my Vital never does it for me. So because Vital is well, he's good, but he's kind of, or at least for years, he was just a show. People go, oh, I want substance. Frischella, yeah, Fran's good. Lapis, I don't care much for, but Frischella's better. And yeah, I used to enjoy Bobby Valvano and his brother, obviously, but when Bob was doing games, you never knew what was coming out of his mouth. So I just did that for comedy. I didn't really do that for basketball. But then so it's you know. Plus, I gotta be to be fair. You're doing so much work on your opponents that you just don't have time to sit around and you know watch every game that's on TV. I watched a lot of them for a while, but like if we were playing Saturday night, Wednesday, you're doing your work till Tuesday, so maybe you'll get a good game on Tuesday. Maybe you'll catch a Monday night Big East game, whatever, Big 12 or a Big East. So yeah, the answer to your question is kind of no. um, Trying to think, like, I mean, there's some good guys out there. I just, what are you teaching me? Sorry, I know that sounds arrogant. Well, it actually is arrogant. So, but what do you like? I loved when Coach did games, Coach Knight on ESPN, and then they complained that he was talking over everybody. All right, well, they wasn't talking over me. I enjoyed him. So that was my, wow, that guy's a pompous ass. That's what they're gonna say when they watch us. Yeah, that's probably true. But I've also been doing this a really long time. So as I was watching this interview with Buck Showalter, and he said, I made a lot of mistakes. I just haven't made them twice. And that's what I would tell you. I'm not that smart a basketball coach. I just learned from my mistakes. So my my players might tell you different, but yeah, that's my take on that.
I have a question I want to ask you. I'm just waiting for the bell to ring. I don't want to be interrupted, so I'm going to mute myself for a second, and then we'll get right.
So what are we supposed to do, Pop? Now you have to
All
talk.
right, I'll have to talk then. Coach, any thoughts on Michigan winning the national championship?
No.
He predicted it.
Well,
No, he didn't.
okay,
Come on.
let's be clear. Let's be clear. I told you what I wanted to do in my heart, but what my head was telling me. the fact that I didn't get it on paper means it didn't happen. So
Well, now here's my question. So
yeah,
I asked you for your rating of the Final Four coaches. When you learned that Dusty was a coach night guy, you had Danny and then
well, I knew
Dusty,
Dusty was a
the other.
coach guy.
What?
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah. Fine. Sorry, you
Danny's
didn't know
top of
that
the
what his
food
last name
chain.
was. You didn't know what his last name
Danny's
was.
top of the food chain, man.
Right. So why with your heart did you want UConn to win if Dusty's a
Because
coach night guy?
because they're doing things the right way there. You know, they don't apologize that their coach is vocal and that he gets on his guys. They don't apologize for that. They don't apologize. You know, he's doing things everybody else is doing something different, and he's doing his own thing. And like, dude wins, man. He wins, and I remember him as a player and the kind of hell every time he took the floor, he looked like he was, what am I doing here? I don't want to be doing this, every single night. Like, and like I saw him play his brother and get embarrassed and all that. Danny Hurley had a tough life, in basketball. And then he turned into this outstanding basketball coach, a great teacher. And I think to a man, they all swear by the guy, even though he rides them like nobody else in the country. So maybe Izzo. But, you know, he's creating men. And I think a lot of guys in this country, well, let me say this. I don't think they're all creating men. And so they do it the right way. He's look, if a guy's there every year, he's doing it. There's something he's doing that no one else is doing. Now, if Dusty turns around and does this every year, okay. Todd Golden's doing a decent job. Um, John's doing to follow Mike Krzyzewski and be in the Final Four every year, or maybe the Elite Eight, whatever he got
We
to.
did every.
Yeah,
Our last play to lose to UConn, though.
okay. I did want to talk about that one. That one was okay. So in this country, in Israel, and with trainers in America, I must add. Well, one thing at a time. In Israel, they at least where I'm working, they kind of always want you to have defense in every single drill, even in your fundamentals drill. And I'm kind of like, that's darn near the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Every single day we used to start practice, shot fake, pass fake. And we would drill shot fake and pass fake every single day. Every single day, we'd start with layups, hard. Rebounding line on the baseline, opposite. You get two dribbles from half court, and that ball's got to be rebounded before it hits the ground. But we're playing hard and we're going hard, and that's so then you watch games here, and almost no one can make a contested layup because they've been shooting them that way since they're 8 years old. You've got, I'm probably getting in trouble for saying this. You've got to be able to teach them to be fundamental before you can put defense into the fundamentals. The greatest proof of that is what happened to the Boozer kid. The inbound the ball. I get everybody's talking about if he holds it and all that nonsense, okay? That's correct. However, it's no guarantee you're going to win. You're just going to get fouled. However, catch, turn, and look. What does he do as soon as he catches it?
Puts it on the deck.
He puts it on the ground. And when he put it on the ground, them two guys had enough time to get him, and he couldn't. He didn't even know it because his first reaction is what every trainer trains kids in America to do, which is put it on the floor. Just boom, boom. You're a one. I saw some stupid comment the other day. I don't remember who said it. It was a stupid comment. He said, positionless basketball means you don't have a true point guard
Yeah.
or a point
Let
guard.
me pull up. I'm the one who sent that to you. I
Which
wanted. I knew.
which
I knew what you would think about it. But I
which
said
idiot? Which
so.
idiot said that?
This was some fellow on Twitter.
Okay, that
All right, you
fellow on
ready?
Twitter, huh?
You ready?
Yeah.
Positionless basketball is code for we don't have a point guard or a good big. Because if you have one of those, you sure as hell aren't playing positionless basketball.
Which idiot said that? A trainer or a coach?
Um,
If it's a coach, you
it's
might want to get him, you might want to get
a
him on the schedule.
AAU coach
Huh?
maybe. I
Hey,
can't.
you coach? Hey, you coach? So
Wait,
he's
I don't know.
coaching he's
Well,
coaching
I don't. Yeah, basketball club head coach and
he's a
director. That's
basketball club head coach. Where's that? In Europe or in
no.
America?
This is in some America.
Okay, dude, you're an idiot. Come on my show. I'll tell you why you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Positionless basketball just means I've got 5 basketball players who can play. Had a 6'3" point guard, had a 5'10" post kid. You know why? Because that's what they were able to do. I have yet in 40 years to number a kid. Position basketball, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basketball is for guys who play PlayStation all day because you're just joysticking your basketball team. You're the 1, you're the 2, and you take that kid and you put him in this box and say, you're just a 2. You're never going to be anything else but a 2. You take some kid in 8th grade and you tell him he's a 5 and he never does anything else because he's just a 5. You, sir, are an imbecile. I had as good a 1 as anybody in the country in high school, and I played positionless basketball. We got the ball to him because we knew what we were doing. But my guys didn't have numbers, nothing. The only numbers they had were the ones on their back. But whoever said that is actually truly an idiot, or doesn't understand either positionless basketball or basketball itself. And I don't care if it's, I mean, Jim Boone wouldn't say anything that's stupid, but I don't care if it's a guy that's just clown commentary. He should be working with the Globetrotters because all that means is this, Pop. If you have that 1, you're telling that inbounder, get the ball to that 1. He's turning around, putting it on the deck, and here comes the double team. And instead of Katz turning and looking and throwing it up the floor to your 3, 4, or 5, whoever was up there, he's putting it on the floor. Here comes the double team. By the time he turns around, over. By the way, he still had time to pass fake it. All he has to do is pass fake up, wrap it around, just roll it up the floor because they're wide open and there's nobody there. But he won't pass fake because he didn't learn that because he was playing position basketball. In other words, he didn't learn that because he was a 1. He didn't have to learn how to pass fake because he had a coach like that knucklehead telling him he didn't have to learn how to do that. I'm telling him, catch, turn, and look. Boom. Catch, turn, and look. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Pop. I mean, no, that's not true. I've heard really stupid stuff, but that's competitive.
Well, I think,
But
Coach, what you would say is this: if let's say you have a great post player, instead of him being a 5, let's just get him the ball in the post,
that's what's up.
right? And when
Look,
he
I
comes
don't
out of
care
the
if
game,
that.
you don't
Yeah,
even
but here's
replace
the
him.
thing. When we were at Goucher College, we had a guard who was so good in the post.
Yeah,
We stuck him in there. We didn't call him a 5,
yeah.
and we didn't want to play where the 2 was going to post up. We're like, Gerard, go in a post. Like, this guy can't guard you with a gun. You know what I mean? Just get inside and beat the hell out of him. And that's what he did. So, like, look, if you have a post kid, and I don't care size, if your kid is significantly better than the kid can guard the post, even if he's 5'5" and he's your 2 or your 1, get his ass in the post and let's get him the ball. That is your offense. If you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that 5 got to come screen for that 1, and that 1, blah, 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 5, go get a rebound. This cat's talking like he's got some back to the basket player. Dude, shut up. There are no back to the basket players in America anymore. Yeah, what?
I was gonna say the five has to come out and set the two ball screen, and
So who?
he's got to set
So
the
who?
two the ball screen or the ball screen.
The one the ball screen?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's where you're going with that, Pop. Two's going to stand there. Two's going to stand there. I'm a two. I don't get the
Yeah, my
ball.
bad. The two stands in the corner. That's
The two
right.
stands in the corner goes, I don't get the ball. I'm a two. You know, like, dude, shut up. So yes, I'm pissing on all that. Yes, yes, I'm in a tough mood tonight. You know what I mean? Like, that's so stupid, Pop. That's so dumb. My God. Did people like that comment? Did you get a lot of likes on that
Yeah,
comment?
he got some likes, some retweets. Yeah.
Yeah. Every AAU coach in America. Hell yeah. Yeah, man, that's what's up. Dude, shut up. Dummies. And now and people want to know why the game sucks so bad. This is why the game sucks so bad right now. Go ahead, Oren. I know you're chomping at the bit.
I was gonna add another point.
No, go Pop.
Yeah, go
Coach,
ahead, Pop.
if you have an elite five post player and let's say you design your offense, say we're going to get the five of the ball in the post. Now, what happens when the five comes out of the game and you don't have another post player? What do you do now?
Are you asking me?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying.
You're asking, I'm going to talk for the knuckleheads in the world? No, I let you do that.
All right,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
talking, dude, I don't do that. Dude, first of all, post play is gone because it's not analytically feasible. We got to have our one dribble the air out the basketball. Do those little James Harden 23 dribble possessions in a 24-second shot clock. You know, is he playing still? Who's he with? Cleveland?
He's still playing.
Who's he playing with?
I couldn't tell you. I don't watch the NBA. Yeah, he's with Cleveland.
I mean, come on, man. They got no shot. I'm saying it here. James Harden will do what James Harden does. He's the Mike Mussina of professional basketball.
Coach, you did a podcast with Mike Messina, no?
Mark, his brother.
His
I did
brother,
a
right, right.
radio show with Mark.
Yeah.
I've told Mark this before. It's not new.
Listen, hate on
Like,
the NBA all you want, but we could at least be proud of our own with Denny Avdia and what
very
he did
proud.
last night. What he did
Very
last night.
proud. What do you have, 41?
43, I think.
I just heard about that. I heard about it. I actually heard it at Milka today. Someone said, Denny had a night, huh? I'm like, I wish I knew what this guy was talking about. I'm like, yeah, Denny's great. You know,
We could still hate the NBA and be proud.
look, he's he. I'm just surprised there haven't been a lot of incidents with Denny. That's all. And God willing, there should not be. So God should protect him because there's some idiots roaming free in the States right now. Like,
Yeah.
good luck, you guys. Like, there's some dumb stuff going on.
So we have two topics of conversation left. I think I'm going to throw them at you at the same time because we've already done the controversial part of the Harold Katz podcast, but this might be controversial too. So that's why I'm going
Okay.
to throw in a second question to the first question. Um, any thoughts on the
No.
on the well-known on the well-known Q book? This was just for the record, this was Popper's suggestion for an agenda item, not mine. So thoughts on the Q book, and the second question is your takeaways on the Sarachek tournament, if you happen to tune in at all.
Hold on. Is the Q
Warren, you
book?
think Coach is watching Sarachek tournament? What are you talking about here?
Hold on.
What?
Coach doesn't
Is-
watch Sarachek. Come on now.
Oh,
Is the
okay.
Q- is
Well,
the
if he
Q
happened
book-
to have stumbled upon a game or two.
Believe me, I didn't watch the whole game. Is the Q book Bob Quillman's line? Is that what that is?
Poppers,
Yeah.
this is all you.
Well, it's not all me. You guys got in a little bit of a Twitter discussion, but I think everything turned out all right on both sides.
No, I'm just saying this was your
Icon?
agenda item, not mine.
Dude,
Oh, I know. I added the agenda because I think Coach has to address the back and forth conversation which occurred.
it's no conversation. He takes this stuff seriously. I don't. Like, it's not a conversation. Like, you were wrong. Are you going to get on and apologize? That's all. Just apologize for being stupid. That's all. You said something, you ran your mouth, and now pay the price. Like, I like Bob, but you were wrong, dude. Just get on there and say you were wrong. Like, that's all I said. Like, you know, so you could tell me that, go pray for Emory. Listen, I gotta be honest with you. My prayers here in Israel have nothing to do with beating Emory University, with all due respect. Like, there are way more bigger things the Jewish people have to worry about than playing Emory University. I just honestly, you know, I I actually feel bad for Bob because March has come and gone, and Bob's got nothing to do till September
Well, he's
when
gonna.
he can.
The off season is for building up credit with his wife, so that his wife lets him watch the games during the season.
Is that what we told you?
That's what he says all the time. Yeah, he
Well,
gives.
I say our next interview. I say our next interview should be Mr. and Mrs. Quillman. We should get them both on and let me find out exactly how good Bob is at the giving to his wife for half the year. I would this what I think. I think Bob, hear me close. This is an open invitation. I really do need to shake this. This is an open invitation to Bob Quillman and Mrs. Quillman to to come on our show, and we're going to put Bob's, you know, my next 6 months are dedicated to my family and my wife to the test. Because I am sure if some big recruit shows up on campus of Illinois Wesleyan, Bob will happen to just drive by and catch the 6'5" guy in action as he drops to say, "Hey, I'm Bob, and I hope you come here. And one day you'll meet my wife when you're a senior." You know what I mean? Like, Bob, open invitation, my friend. Anytime you want, come on, on the podcast and bring your wife. Let's find out. We're going to test the theory. So as far as the Q book,
I think we
what?
skipped the Sarachek question and just end the show on that note.
Wait, as far as the Q book, I want to know what the standards are for the Q book. Like, is it just Bob's assessment of the situation, or is there some intelligence going on there somewhere? No intellect, just Bob's assessment, Bob's prognostication. Okay, I mean, go for it. But in the meantime, I I really would like to talk to Mrs. Bob. Like that, I think that should be our next show, Bob. Arrange it. Bob, open invitation, Bob. We could do it live. Join us in Israel. Believe it or not, contrary to what you believe or what you've heard, it's extremely safe here. And you're welcome to come to Jerusalem. I'll host you, give you some kosher food, and then we could do a live podcast, you and your wife, and we'll find out if Bob is living up to his end of the bargain. Over under on that, 3 weeks. No, not 3 weeks ago. In 3 weeks, he'll maybe do it for 3 weeks. That's my prediction, Bob. How does he get off Twitter long enough? How does he get off Twitter long enough to actually talk to his wife? He's not on X all day.
Pop, change the subject, please.
Bob, come on, anytime you want. Bob, come on, open
Warren, that's
invitation.
your job. You're the subjects guy. All right, last subject for the night. Coach, give your thoughts about. I know we mentioned it earlier in the show with the Yeshiva League and not having a lot of players from the Yeshiva League play for Yeshiva.
Yeah, I think it was actually, I think everybody would agree. I think what's so crazy about the Yeshiva League is that this was a very impressive DRS team, but everybody knows that that team will not translate to any type of collegiate competitive level.
I mean, weren't they the team that played matchup all year?
Yeah.
DRS plays exclusively matchup,
Yeah.
which, by the
Even
way,
if
is very effective in the Yeshiva League when coached right.
I get it. I get it. So is zone for the last 50 years. But that's the first hindrance for any kid. who thinks he can play on that level. Because you're gonna have to learn how to play man to man. That's about responsibility and like I don't care where you go to college. If your college coach is worth anything, you're gonna have to play some man to man. And the way teams are playing in the Yeshiva League, I've said this before. I know those two idiots in Brooklyn always say something about it, but you owe it to that kid who's carrying you to make sure he's ready to play on the next level if he's good enough. You owe it to him to get him prepared for that. You don't you don't just owe it to him to get him prepared for the world if his next step is to play college basketball. You owe it to
Coach,
that kid.
specific to man, in the Yeshiva League, about half of the teams at the varsity level primarily play man to man. So
It's
it
a
is
new
more.
thing. Yeah,
It's
it's a new
more than
thing.
it was a few years ago.
Because
Yeah.
the old guys are leaving. So now you have some young guys coming in there and um um
Well,
it's
there's
just
some guys. There's some guys who have been around for a little bit who play man. Like Joey plays mostly man or almost all man. Um,
yeah,
Scott plays mostly man.
yeah.
Are you just waiting for me to run out of my list of teams that I can
Yeah,
think
I mean your
of?
list is at two right now. Maybe
I'm just thinking of guys who have been around for a while.
Orange coach. But look, you
Well, Oz primarily plays zone.
oh does he? My bad, Oren, I apologize. Um um I just think you owe it to the kid. You owe it to the kid to teach him, fundamentals so he doesn't get lost when he gets on that level. You owe it to the kid to teach him how to guard when he gets to that level. You owe it to the kid to teach him, play hard when you get to I mean, you owe it to the kid. So a lot of guys are interested in hanging their JV banner or whatever, eighth grade championship. That to me, that's you're taking advantage of kids like that. You know, like anybody who prioritizes their seventh grade championship over teaching the right way to play, that guy should actually be fired. You heard me, Danny Mizrahi. You should be
I would
fired.
say, Coach, I would say last two JV championships have been Magnum David and Flatbush, both who practice a lot. You can get into that if you want to discuss it. But
Every
besides for
day.
playing,
Say it every day.
they practice every day
Look,
for 9 months. But besides for that, they also play like six different defenses. But they do play a lot of man to man among those defenses. So
okay.
at the very least, the last two champions
Full
have been.
disclosure, I go back with Ike Dweck. Spike, is that what you call him? I go back with Ike 1990 something. 90, something like that. I'm old. We're friends for over 30 years, and I love him. And I've spent time with both those guys. Harold's still coaching the JV,
Yeah.
and Ike on the varsity, and uh, so it's hard for me to talk about them as a unit or whatever. But I will say this: I think I was watching again Showalter, and he said something relatively early in his interview where he said he was talking to a pitcher in the majors, and he said, "What position?" Or maybe it was the minors. He said, "What position did you play when you weren't pitching?" He said, "I didn't play any position. I just pitched." And he's like, "You gotta play other sports. Guys who are playing one sport, they're not going to make it. Guys who just play baseball, don't play football, don't play basketball, don't play soccer. I mean, anybody who plays soccer should never make it anyway. But um, but guys who don't play another sport, his comment was, you got to play other sports. I think that's true for. I like Malk, by the way. I consider him a friend. Like that's an arms race over there. That's all that is. That's an arms race.
Right. I'm not
So
even I'm not even necessarily sure Flatbush want to practice every day, but you got to do, whatever
You don't
you're
want to lose him to Mac David.
right. It's like keeping up with the Joneses a little bit.
I mean, but I'm not going to begrudge a guy for getting away what he can get away with. You can't begrudge him for that. You don't like that, put him in another league. You know what I mean? Like you play in this league and let him go play in the Catholic league or whatever. You know what I mean? So unless you put out rules that change it, why? I get why he's doing it. I don't think you should be practicing. You could work on your game. I think kids just need a break from that. 9 months is longer than the league. So, um, it's strange to me because they have really good players at those places, and none of them have translated into being able to play on the next level. So it's a little disappointing. It's disappointing that the Yeshiva League doesn't turn out any college caliber basketball players. What the crazy part is, parents who are listening to this, you're paying people to teach your kid. There are more people paying people to teach their kids than ever before. And there's less people going to play in college from this community. It's the way it is. Here's the thing. The reason the Yeshiva League had a lot of kids playing at YU was because, you know, he was under the impression that was the best basketball you could get. And he didn't recruit out of town except if you were from California or Israel, and that was it. Like, you know, so all the Yeshiva League players were coming to YU, but they weren't really good enough to compete for championships. They were good enough players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying. Daniel Ander's a hell of a player. Dewey Hoffman's a hell of a player. Like Feld was a hell of a player. I mean, you got guys who could play, but ultimately, there's a reason they went as far as they went. And this guy, Elliott, who's recruiting all over the world, is going where he's going. So, I mean, that's not the only reason, obviously, but, the Yeshiva League, I mean, they to their credit, they put out the best player probably ever played at YU, which is Gabriel. And there was good guys. Tyler played in Yeshiva League, and Justin played in the Yeshiva League, and we named them. But you're talking about a handful of guys in the biggest Jewish population in America by a long shot. And you're giving us what now? One guy? No, it happens to be the leading scorer in YU history is from the Yeshiva League. They didn't really play because it was COVID. So, that's my take. My take is that I think Yeshiva League coaches, um, like what's Yeshiva League player doing now? Season's over. Is he working on his game or is he playing pickup? If he's playing pickup, he's wasting his summer. I guarantee you, they all need to work on their left hand. Period. Drop the mic. If you're playing pickup instead of doing that, that's why you're not playing on the next level. If you're not getting better laterally, that's why you're not playing on the next level. If you're not understanding, ball movement, player movement, that's why you're not playing on the next level. If you don't box, if you don't rebound, like a whole mess of stuff. If all you're doing is learn how to shoot a three, that's why you're not playing on the next level. Unless, of course, you're Zebi. You know what I mean? And believe me, we had issues with Zebi a lot because he didn't guard anybody for a while. He told us that on podcast. It's difficult, So that's really where I'm coming down on it. I just think now's the time for you to get in the gym and do your work. Forget pickup, forget AAU. Just get in the gym and do your work. Don't be paying some schmuck to teach you to dribble around cones. Like cones don't do dick. They just I'm in a mood tonight. They don't do nothing. They just stand there. You understand? Like you're playing through an obstacle course. That's your workout. I mean, I get a cone. You learn to cut off a chair. I get that. But dribbling through cones, like, come on, 1951 Hoosiers. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like we got to be better than that as teachers. You know, a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers aren't teachers. They're just guys who used to play. It's okay. But like, I was listening to Showalter talk about baseball players. And he's like, you're playing all these coaches. He's like, Dad, you probably know as much as most of these guys know. They just picked up a book, you know? So I suggest it's a Kevin Pillar's podcast with Brooke Showalter. It's worth the listen because,
Been referenced a lot on this episode.
yeah, it was really good. And it was good because I'm a coach and I like listening to other coaches. I'm a teacher. I like listening to other teachers. And all Buck is a teacher, you know, and the way he did things and they made total sense. And, you know, it's well worth it. It's a long investment because it's a couple hours, so it'll take you a couple days if you're like me, because I can't listen to the whole thing at one time. My life's I can't waste my time with that. So I'm walking somewhere or whatever, I'll listen to it. Or, you know, I'm sitting around doing some work, I'll just listen to it. That's kind of it. That's my take on the Yeshiva League. I'm gonna piss all of them off, you know. Are those commissioners still busting everybody's balls about, you know, getting their stuff in on time when I give them 2 weeks to do it? But make sure you call by 11 because I have to update the website, dude. Stop.
There's only one commissioner, but I'm going to change the subject.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I
Season
actually,
4, episode 5 for the
Pop, is it okay if I ask one more question?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. s- I think we all sincerely appreciated what Zevi did in terms of not only what he did on the court, but also off the court, you know, in terms of the Kiruv and really
Uh,
exposing his teammates to Judaism and allowing them the opportunity to learn things about their religion that they didn't know beforehand. Um, do we think that can still continue for the program, even though Zevi is moving on to bigger and better things?
I gotta be honest, it started with Tyler, and it's not a Zebby thing, it was a Tyler thing. Tyler was the guy who would, you know, before the game, give it to our Torah or learn
Right.
something.
I guess it was just more out there with Zevi.
Well, Zebby publicized it. You know, Tyler, you know, the team's Torah study was the team's Torah study.
Well, Zevi also fundraised in a way
Yeah.
that
Oh, look,
Tyler
Zebby did great work.
didn't
Zebby did
or
great work.
couldn't. Even you might say
Zebby did great
otherwise.
work, but the minion is Zebby's legacy. That one should keep going. But Zebby did great work. I'm proud of him for it. But make no mistake, Tyler Hogue was doing it. I
And
mean,
I
one
know
of the
this is something that's very meaningful to you as someone who
yeah,
has been involved in NCSY for
absolutely,
years. Yeah.
absolutely. It was great, and I loved it. And I think you can see the fruit of his labor. But you know, it started with Tyler, and that the Tyler thing was a couple of years, I think. You know, where before games, do Ray Torah, and I know Daniel Tamir got a lot out of it, and eventually he started to give Devar Torah. So it was a thing where there was still it was a basketball thing, but it was a little more than that because we should be more than that. You know, whatever the rest of the teams in the country do, great. But there's something else here with the Jews. We need to be a little different, and that's okay. Being different is fine, except if they want to kill you for it, which seems to be the sentiment. You know, and I I I keep thinking back to Mayor Kahana, who said I'd rather be a Jew living in Israel than I'd rather be a Jew living in Israel that's hated than a Jew in Auschwitz that's loved, than a dead Jew in Auschwitz that's loved. And I think that's the lesson now. The lesson now is they can try to paint us however they want. I can tell you right now that this is all right. I'll say this one last thing 'cause I'm going to write about it. Um, all these guys going, well, it's not our war, Iran. They're not an existential threat to us. Okay, fair. If they were, would you want to destroy them? Yes. Their proxies are on our border. They are them. So should we not do that because it offends you? So my grandchildren are running. My granddaughter, it's kind of cute. She runs to the mamad. She hears a siren, boom, she's gone. Shot out of cannon. Kids have to grow up like that. And you don't like that? You're offended by that? Johnny come latelys who just found out about the land of Israel from TikTok? To think that a country that can't pass a budget, a country that is fighting, has an entire party fighting to keep illegals in their country, that country is going to be manipulated by one guy as a what? What? And by the way, to all you Jews in New York who voted for Chuck Schumer, screw you. You're the worst. You heard me. Vote for that clown show. You same cats who voted for Mamdani. Oh, we didn't vote for Mamdani. You voted for Schumer, who all but endorsed Mamdani. And New York, sorry, Pop, you deserve everything you get, man. Stupid enough after de Blasio. Was that the guy? Was that the guy, de Blasio, during the COVID or whatever? Was that the guy, Bill de Blasio?
Andrew Cuomo.
Well, no, what was the name? What was the name of the What's the name of the governor before Cuomo got fired?
Uh,
Was that de Blasio?
no, de Blasio was mayor. Cuomo's been governor, was
And what
governor
was
for
the name of the
7 years.
mayor? What was the name of the mayor? Was it de Blasio during COVID?
It was Adams, Eric Adams.
No, before him.
Oh, de Blasio.
Okay. After that night, he was worthless, and you voted for this guy. You deserve every single thing you get. Everything. Every single thing. Good luck, New York. You'll cry about your taxes now. Dude, you voted for him. Crying that your garbage is not picked up. You voted for him. You're going to be crying that your rental property tax is going to go up. You voted for him. You deserve it. You deserve it. What a nightmare New York is. Jeez, Pop, get the hell out. Still living in New York, Pop? Anyway, they are proxies on our border. If you would wipe out Iran if they were giving you problems, which they are and have been for 47 years, but the woke Reich, they don't seem to, it's all about the Jews. Just piss on the Jews. Fellas, I told you this. When it gets out in the open, it never gets better. It never goes back. Ever. That's historical fact. Now you can say stuff about Jews. You can say stuff about the, oh, I'm talking about the Zionists. Shut up. And the Jews who are sticking it to the Jews, oh my God, I'm trying not to say anything about them because I try not to talk about whatever. But I'm done. I'm not, because, I'm done. I'm done. Screw all y'all.
That's the best line to end with, by the way.
That's my take. All right,
That'll
guys.
do it for season 4, episode 5. Thanks as always to our viewers for tuning in, and we'll be back
Looking forward to the next one
with Mr. and Mrs. Coleman. We're looking forward to it for sure.
Okay, Pop, the gauntlet's been laid down. Bring them on here, Mr. and Mrs. Let's get them together.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time on the Herald Cats podcast.